There's a new controller in the market that aims to turn your phone into a Game Pass machine. You won't believe how much storage you need to install Dying Light 2 on your Xbox. We'll talk about the question that's on everybody's minds. Is Call of Duty going to be exclusive to Xbox going forward? I'm also very excited to say that my giveaway is live. If you click the link down in the description, you will find instructions on how you can win your very own Series X from me. Let's discuss. Now, since news broke that Microsoft was engaged in a deal to buy Activision Blizzard, well, that's pretty much what everyone has been talking about exclusively, and for good reason too. The deal is worth $70 billion. Huge sum of money, and it's already had some major implications. For example, Sony stock, after the news broke, fell sharply, apparently, and the gaming community is at war with each other, basically. There are a lot of strong opinions on each side, whether or not this is good or bad for the industry. The big question on everybody's mind is, are these titles from Activision Blizzard, are they going to be exclusive to Xbox going forward once this deal is finalized? Specifically, is Call of Duty gonna be exclusive to Xbox? Sony pretty quickly came out with a statement of their own regarding this. They said, "We expect that Microsoft will abide by contractual agreements and continue to ensure Activision games are multi-platform." Similarly, Activision just submitted this very boring, legal-looking document to the Chamber of Commerce, basically stating their intentions and asking a series of questions about their new relationship with Microsoft. First of all, what I thought was interesting from this document, they said they're not going to fire anyone. They want to keep the whole team intact. And specifically on question number 14, which is, how does this transaction impact existing partner agreements, i.e. Sony, Google, Apple? Will this change what we're able to offer our partners or how we structure our agreements? And their response was, "We will honor all existing commitments post-close. As with Microsoft's acquisition of Minecraft, we have no intent to remove any content from platforms where it exists today, and we would be open to discussions to enter into an agreement to confirm our intent when it is appropriate to do so." Along that same kind of wavelength, Phil Spencer recently put out a statement on his Twitter, and he said, "Had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry, and we value our relationship." So the official news is that Call of Duty is going to stay multi-platform. It will stay on PlayStation. I don't know if that's going to change in the future. I don't know if Microsoft has some sneaky plan that they're going to pull on us later, but the official news is that they are going to honor their contractual agreements and stay multi-platform. But that doesn't mean the rest of Activision's IPs are not going to be exclusive to Microsoft going forward once this deal is through. That means Spyro, that means Crash Bandicoot, I'm talking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, I'm talking Guitar Hero. Hey, make a new prototype game, that would be pretty awesome. Now, all of this has created quite a storm on Twitter. There's people who are saying, oh, all Xbox does is buy these publishers that have always made multi-plat games because they can't make good games on their own. They're trying to take them off of other consoles, other platforms, and just keep them for themselves. And then people are firing back at them saying, hey, Sony's been doing that for a little bit. They have acquired studios at a pretty quick rate, and they've gone out of their way to take franchises like Final Fantasy and keep them for themselves. They have timed exclusivity deals with Street Fighter, and they have Insomniac Games, and they're keeping Spider-Man off of other consoles. And then people will come back at them and be like, hey, actually, well, those studios and those franchises actually pretty much only exclusively worked with Sony for a long time, so there's not really much of a difference. And then people are like, really? Like Knights of the Old Republic, who they have a timed exclusivity deal with for the remake that was only available originally on Xbox and PC? Or, how about non-Insomniac Spider-Man games, which are multi-platform all the time? I've played Spider-Man games on N64, PS2, Xbox, that sort of thing. That was basically like me trying to sum up different points of the arguments I've seen online. Some people mentioned that Insomniac made Sunset Overdrive an Xbox exclusive that launched with the Xbox One, and people are like, oh yeah, but Xbox, they didn't buy it, so Insomniac went back to Sony. People who say that they can't nurture their own studios, I mean, come on, man, what about the Coalition, man? They're like the experts in Unreal Engine 5, and they brought us Gears, and they're awesome. No matter how you feel about the situation, the fact of the matter is, and I think not a lot of people want to talk about this, is that exclusive content is what is driving the entertainment industry right now. Not just video games. If you go and look at television, hey, you want to watch The Witcher? You better get a Netflix subscription. Hey, you want to watch The Office? Get Peacock. Or buy the DVDs, or pirate them. Don't pirate them. Hey, you want to watch Marvel TV shows? Get Disney Plus. Oh, but wait, I used to be able to watch Marvel TV shows on Netflix, on Hulu. What happens to those? Oh yeah, well, you can still watch those shows, but if you want new Marvel TV shows, you're gonna have to get Disney Plus. This, of course, is what we're seeing today in the video game industry. If a company has a game, a franchise, an IP they know is lucrative, they are going to do everything that they can to keep that exclusive to their system. It's not just Xbox. Nintendo, they're not going to make Bayonetta 3 playable on the other consoles. It doesn't matter if Bayonetta was playable on the 360. Who cares? They're going to make it for themselves. Buy a Nintendo if you want to play Bayonetta 3. Same thing over at Sony for the PlayStation. With how obsessed people are with Spider-Man right now, they're not going to let other platforms make Spider-Man games. Are you crazy? They barely let Tom Holland finish his trilogy with Marvel because they wanted the rights back, and they're in the middle of creating their own Spider-Verse universe. They know how lucrative that is, so they're going to do everything they can to keep it on that console. And whether or not you want to say, well, they nurtured those studios from the ground up, they did it the quote-unquote right way, it's still the same, exclusive to these consoles. You gotta buy that hardware in order to play those games. And so further exclusivity of these titles, you know, it's just something that is part of the business, and it's something that Xbox, Microsoft needed to do. I can't say if it's right, I can't say if it's going to work out in the long run to benefit us, but I think it's going to work out. I'm super excited to see what they do with non-Call of Duty games and IPs. Phil Spencer said he was super psyched to bring back some old franchises that Activision hasn't worked on in a long time, and that would be sick if we got a new Guitar Hero or Rock Band. It would be awesome. And now I don't know if these games, Overwatch, Diablo, that they're going to be exclusive to Xbox going forward. I don't think any of us will know, but what I do know is that Game Pass is about to be sick, and I think that's the real takeaway from all this. I really think that Xbox's end game is Game Pass and cloud gaming. I really don't think any video game company wants anything to do with selling hardware anymore. There was a report that said Microsoft sells Xbox consoles at a loss, and everyone was like, haha, they don't make any money. But that goes for other video game companies too. Sony sells PlayStations at a loss. The real money is made from video games, from subscription services like PS Plus, like Xbox Live and the transactions that go along through them, and gaming accessories. The hardware, your Xbox, your Nintendo Switch, your PlayStation 5, that's just a vehicle for you to buy all that other stuff which actually makes the money. And when it comes to the entertainment industry, video game consumers are the only ones that put up with that. Disney isn't trying to sell you a box that only plays Disney content. We did that a little bit with television. People said, hey, you want to watch TV? You got to sign up for cable. You got to have a cable box put in your house, and that's how you watch TV. You'll have like 200 channels, but you'll only ever watch like 3. And when a better alternative came along to that, as soon as we were able to stop doing that, we said, yes, I don't want this cable box anymore. I'm just going to subscribe to the subscription services that have the content I want, Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu, whatever. I'm ditching the hardware and I'm just getting the services. I don't think consoles will ever truly go away, but given the option, I think people would do that with gaming too. If you can download on your smart TV, on your Roku or whatever, a Game Pass app that allows you to play games directly on your TV, I think people would do that. So the more that Game Pass grows, the more they optimize cloud gaming. I really think that's the end game here. And in that way, this acquisition, Activision Blizzard, has really kind of pushed that along. It's really, I think, going to make Game Pass a must-have going forward. And look at the biggest video game company. It's not Sony, it's not Microsoft, it's not Nintendo, it's Tencent Games. And when was the last time you saw a Tencent game console? You don't need to buy a console just so you can play games like PUBG. Now, Dying Light 2, the sequel to Dying Light, my favorite PlayStation exclusive, was set to originally come out in December, but it was delayed and is now coming out February 4th of this year. It's coming out on Xbox too, by the way. That was just a goof I made in a previous video. It is a highly anticipated zombie action survival game that features some really big time actors like Rosario Dawson. Now, as it gets closer to release, we are starting to learn more details about the game. For example, how much storage you need in order to install and play it. The game is expected to take up 72 gigabytes on your Xbox. That's pretty big, right? But consistent with, most big modern games. Apex Legends is sitting around on my Xbox at taking up 80 gigabytes of storage. Red Dead Redemption Redemption, I mean, that's over 100, so, you know, it falls within the realms of expectation. Apparently, though, it's going to take up a measly 32.5 gigabytes over on your PlayStation 5. Over on the PC version, it's still 60 gigabytes to install, which is less than the Xbox version, but still a lot bigger than that PlayStation version. Now, there are a couple of reasons as to why this might be. First, and I think this is the most probable, that Techland, the studio who created Dying Light, worked pretty much only on optimizing the PlayStation version of the game, and they were just kind of like, Xbox, we'll make it playable, but it'll be better on PlayStation. Second, it's possible that visually it's going to look better on a Series X than it would on a PS5. You know that PS5, traditionally, they do a lot of upscaling to 4K, whereas a lot more games run natively on Xbox at 4K, and they have a lot more titles that run at 120 FPS. And of course, to that end, there could be a lot more high quality visual assets in the Xbox version of the game versus the PS5, hence the reason why it takes up so much storage. Either way, it'll be interesting to see if Techland actually puts out a statement regarding this, and it's also, of course, going to cause a whole lot of arguments on Twitter versus Xbox and PlayStation people. So we don't know if gaming companies that are not Nintendo and Valve are going to bother making handheld gaming devices. PlayStation tried it and doesn't seem like they're interested in it anymore. Xbox has never had a portable Xbox console, but with the rise of cloud gaming, there has been an interesting market of controllers popping up that basically turn your phone into a portable gaming Xbox machine. Now, with some of these games that you play on your phone via xCloud, you can actually use your touchscreen for the controls, but obviously that's not ideal if you're playing a more intensive game like Forza or Halo. Now, we've seen a couple of these on the market with the Backbone and the Razer Kishi. People pretty much lost their minds when I said, hey, I actually like this Backbone controller. It was really funny. Now, another one of these controllers has popped up, this time from Nacon. It's called the Rig MGX, and that is a super complicated name, a little bit more complicated than the other ones. This controller is officially licensed from Xbox, and I don't know if the Backbone and the Kishi carry that designation. Now, there are some key differences between the Kishi and the Backbone controller. So with the Kishi and the Backbone, you open them up and they have a port that goes into your USB-C or Lightning charging port on your phone, and that's how they operate. The Rig, on the other hand, is connected via Bluetooth, so it relies on its own charge, but this also will apparently allow you to keep your phone case on even when your controller is stacked. You have to take it off if you're playing with the Backbone or the Kishi. The MGX is also basically just an Xbox controller. This difference really only applies to the Backbone because Razer Kishi, they do have an Xbox version of their controller. Basically an Xbox controller with different analog sticks, but you'll have the same YBXA buttons and all the same positioning. Now, according to The Verge, this controller, the MGX, is pretty chunky. It's allegedly wider than your Xbox controller, even when it's not expanded. And that's pretty significant because the Backbone and the Kishi, they're both very compact when you fold them up, which is great for portability. But overall, the build quality is reportedly pretty solid, pretty decent, but apparently the triggers are trash. The author who was reporting on the MGX, he said that it was very hard to keep them pressed down. He was playing Forza, for example, and he was like, I keep losing races. I don't know why, but that's because his trigger wasn't pushed all the way down, and that was very inconsistent with the acceleration and the gas. The MGX is also exclusively for Android phones, so that's kind of a bummer for a lot of us iPhone users out there, including me. But overall, it's pretty affordable. It's priced at $80, which puts it at the same price point as the Razer Kishi, and just below the Backbone, which is $100. Hopefully I can get my hands on one soon, and I think I still have my Google Pixel lying around somewhere, so maybe I'll try it out for myself for the channel, see how it goes. Anyway, guys, that's all the news I have for today. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Ray. I would very much appreciate it if you went on over to Twitter and followed me at StayXboxReady. I'm also very excited to say that my giveaway is live. If you click the link down in the description, you will find instructions on how you can win your very own Series X from me. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.